Hello, my name's Becky Roesler, and I'm on YouTube and on Instagram as Becky's Junk Journals. Today I want to show you how I make collages specifically on really busy background paper, like this scrapbook paper I have on this collage right here. This is one I did recently for my little golden book I'm working on, and it was the center of a one of the signatures, and I posted it in my groups, and there was a lot of comments on this page that they liked it, and I've seen a lot of questions regarding collage in the groups and online, and so I thought that I would recreate what I did with this collage on this page spread using pattern background paper. I've got 3 pages that I'm going to be working on making collages on the pattern background paper. And this is a paper, and I highly recommend this. Use a paper that you don't like as the background. As long as it's got a color that goes with your overall color scheme. That's all that matters, because it's going to fade into the background. But if you like this color and you want it to be the dominant color in your collage, then use your papers that you don't like that. Here's 2 other pages that I plan on working on. These won't be for the book I'm currently working in, this little golden book, but I've got 13 little golden books to make. So I've cut the pages the exact size that will fit into my next little golden book, and they are 7.5 inches tall and 12 inches opened up like that. The first thing that I do is I collect. I'm dropping my stuff. Come back here. Sorry about that. I collect my papers that I'm going to be using. In the case of this collage right here, this pattern paper was in the center of the signature, and so I just did the collage right on the center of the signature while it was already sewn in. But I'm going to show you how to do this on paper that has not been sewn in. What I have done is I've cut the pages to size, and I have, since it's a decorative paper, it's white on the background. Well, I got rid of that white. I just inked in a circular motion the entire back with a different color because I don't happen to have any orange. So anyway, so I'm going to be working on that one as a double page layout. I'm going to be working on this one, and I'm going to be working on this one. So I've got the papers that I'm going to use as the background, and the next thing that I'm going to do is decide on a color scheme. Now in this one right here, I decided on my color scheme, since this was predominantly purple, the busy background paper, which by the way, I didn't really care for this background paper, but it was the right color I wanted. So since I'm using pattern background paper for these collages, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the main color of the background paper as my dominant color. So any other colors that I add will be accents only. So the most color that I'm going to have is purple. So there's more purple on this page spread than there is any other color. And then, since yellow is directly opposite purple on the color wheel, these 2 colors vibrate across each other, and so it really makes a pleasing composition when you use the color that's opposite on the color wheel as an accent. This yellow rose is the focal point of this page. It's the first thing your eye goes to because it's the darkest dark and the sharpest edge and the brightest color. And so this is the secondary focal point for this page. It'll be the focal point for this page, and that'll be the focal point for that page. So the focal point, they lead your eye from one side to the other. So the dark in this background of this photo from a magazine that I cut out goes along with the dark in this page. And in the between, I used a neutral with black accents on it. So there's some black here, there's black here, and there's black here. And what do you know, that makes 3. I try to work in odd numbers or triangles, one or the other. Either make sure it's an odd number or make sure that it's a triangle. So the colors in this one, you've got yellow, 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 yellow. That's 3, and you could consider that the triad. So there's 3 yellows, there's 3 yellows. If you work with 3 black elements, or you could look at it this, that way, since that's the focal point. But anyway, as long as you try to work in 3s, 3 of the same colors, or 3 of the same elements or similar elements, you're going to be fine. So anyway, that's how I choose colors. I choose the color that is the background page for the main color. It'll be the dominant color. And then the accent color is yellow in this one. And there's a touch of green, because there's a touch of green here in this plant and a touch of green down here in this flower sticker that I put down. And you may not be able to see it very well on the video, but there is. There's a little bit of green there. There's a little bit of green there. There's a kind of a bluish green there. There's a little bit of green there and a little bit of green there. So green is the smallest accent color. The smallest amount will be green. Yellow, since it's the brightest and lightest and stands out the most, it will be the main accent color. I've also used neutrals, beige and white, as a filler. So I've got white lace here, I've got white trim here, I've got beige white in the back of this little print that I put down. This is neutral, that's neutral, and that is predominantly neutral, and so are these two things. And this doesn't really stand out sharply from the background since it has a lot of purple in it. So that's how I use colors. And if you notice, the purple is considered cooler than the yellow. Yellow is considered a warm color, and normally the colors opposite each other on the color wheel, one will be cool and one will be warm. And so if you think in terms of color temperature, the warm color is the accent color, and the cool color is the color that frames everything or goes in the background. Okay. So once you've picked out your color scheme and you decide which one's going to be dominant and which colors are going to be accents, I usually use the main background page as my dominant color. And then the next thing I do is I gather as many paper and elements in this color scheme in a wide variety of sizes, shapes, and textures, and I include some black and white and neutral pieces to use as filler. I always gather lots more than I need, lots more. And then I sort the elements by size into 4 piles, and I have a 5th pile with bits of textured items like ribbon, lace, and trim or fabric that I can use for the final touches to it. But here's my 5 piles that I've got. I put everything on these styrofoam plates since I use them as pallets, and I happen to have a bunch of them around, and these will be used over and over and over again. But anyway, the very largest pieces are for layer number 1, and this will include the items that I use as the focal point or that I might use as a focal point. and the ones that are subordinate immediately adjacent to the focal point. The second pile has the next size down. They're sort of medium large pieces. I could use these to fill in or to accent along with the very largest pieces if I want, but it's there if I need it. And then I've got the smallest pieces divided up into two piles. These are medium small, and this is the tiniest small. And these will be used as accents to decorate. And they're all done. And I have chosen that color scheme that I'm going to use for all three of these is blue and orange with accents of yellow. And that is the color. Blue is your cool color, and then orange is going to be the warm, and then yellow as an accent. So this page blue will be dominant, this page blue will be dominant, this page orange will be dominant with blue accents, and these will have orange and yellow accents, and this will have blue and yellow accents. So 3 different pages, basically the same composition, and just done with different pieces and in different color schemes. And it's not hard to do, and I'm going to walk you through it. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the largest element, one large element that I'm going to use as a focal point on each page, on each side of each page. So I'm going to go through my largest pile here, and I'm going to pick out what I think is the best thing to put. And I have picked out all kind of stuff. And so I might use that on that side, and then I might put a bird on this side. And the bird has some blue in it, the bird has some yellow in it. Anyway, this is how I get started. And I'm going to turn the camera off and go through all my piles and pick out some stuff, so you don't have to go through that picking out stage. But I'm going to pick out one element to go on each side and be the focal point on each side of each page spread. And I will be back in just a second. Okay, I have got everything gathered, and I have picked out a main element, starting with my orange page. And I have decided that I want this flower that I cut out of a rose magazine, and I want this, and these will be my 2 main elements. The first main element on either side, and I'm working these simultaneously, but they'll be actually 2 separate collages. One thing I didn't like about this is it didn't have enough contrast. This has a lot of contrast between the orange pattern and this. So in order to make that work for me, I'm going to be gluing with my art glitter glue. I'm going to glue down my first element to this blue paper so I can have a background. And that will be my first element for this side, and this will be my first element for that side. And then, so what I will do is I will wait. I don't want to glue yet, but I've got my elements there. So now I'm going to pick out 2 more slightly smaller elements for each side. And I have chosen this one, to go on this side. And I'm leaving a little bit of a space, about a ½ inch of space around each side to give it sort of a frame. And that will go there. And then on this side, I've chosen this, and I've chosen this. Now, that's my 3 elements that I will start off with. Now, what I could do is cut this off here and save it. And I think I will do that because I might be able to use that little piece of paper for something else. So that, and then this is going to go here. I think I like it like that. I like it sort of centered. And then what happened? I don't have my, oh, my 3rd element. This was my 3rd piece for this side. So I'm staggering them. I've got the 1st element moved over towards the center. Of this page, and then I've got that, and then I've got that, and those will be my 3 elements to start with on this side, and on this side these will be my 3 elements here to start with. And I have gone through and inked with my Chip Sapphire Distress Oxide ink. I've inked all the edges in advance, and so you can see how so I can save some time and this thing won't drag out forever. If you're like me, it took me a long time to decide on what elements I want. But as you can see, now that I've got my decisions made and the sides all inked like this, it's just a matter of gluing it down into the approximate spot. And I'm not trying to be exact on anything. I'm just trying to get it where it looks halfway decent. And I'm going to glue these down and show you what it looks like after I've picked everything out. I don't want it to go right up to the center line, but I want to make it sort of staggered. So there's my 1, 2, 3. Then on this side. And I've overlapped everything. So I've got my beginning of my collage on this side, and I've got my beginning of my collage on that side. So the basic design is all done. Everything else that I put on it is going to be subordinate to this. So the next items that I put down are going to be smaller than these items I've got on each side here. And they are going to be duller in color and maybe even neutral colors, because I want them to sort of fade in the background and have these things come forward, stand out. So I haven't got anything picked out ready to go yet, I don't think. Well, yes, I do. You want to keep going on this? We can. And one of the things, I could stop right here and call this my collage. I didn't get it down good right there. Okay, the art glitter glue really grabs fast. I don't worry about wrinkles. These are from magazine pages. That's from that rose growing manual I had. This is from the rose growing manual. This is from a magazine page. And this was some ephemera from a book of ephemera pieces that were cut out. I don't do the prints, the printables, mainly because I don't have a decent printer that would print everything out right. But also I like every one of my collages to be different. And if you're just using your things that you have on hand, then that's what's they're gonna be different, and it's gonna look a lot better in the long run. Okay, here on my tray I picked out some other elements that could go on this if it needs it. And that is a neutral type element. And this is a neutral element. Sort of goes into, and let's see. This is a element that can be used. This one is kind of big. That one is about right. And you see there I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I meant to put this behind there and I didn't. What if I can bring it up? Not without tearing it. So we'll just go on top, but I will have to switch something out there. Let's see how that looks. That gives it some texture. What do you think? Too much? Not enough? I don't know. I'm not particularly happy with it. That's kind of interesting. And that is kind of interesting. Let's see. Here is some neutral. And so I'm just moving the elements around to see if I can get something that looks good to me. I am adding texture, just little pieces of texture. I think that would be good on top of that. And maybe just a little piece of this right there with that. This is almost too bold. God, these scissors are my paper scissors. They just won't cut fabric very well these days. There's my fabric scissors. Okay, what do you think about that? This piece I had meant to put behind there, but it did not get there beforehand, so I will either live without it or find another place for it. Well, I have things pretty much in the same place that I would like them, and I think I'm going to go with it. I'm going to glue down this piece of silk ribbon with Fabri-Tac. And for like me, you get glue all over everything. So I'm going to glue down another little piece of fabric scrap. Well, I've got my fabric tack going. And I don't need Fabri-Tac for this, but I happen to have it open, so. And I know where I want it to go. Right there. And then Where should it go? Right there. All right, I like that. I like the combination. And on this side, I know that I want this little card here, and there again, I've already pre-inked the edges on all of these, so I know that I don't have to slow down and do it in advance. Trying to keep things all different sizes and shapes, and adding some texture here and there. That way. Okay. Now, I think I do like there, and I'm just going to put that down like that. Doesn't have to be glued all the way down. It will stay stuck like that. And then on this side, I'm going to take this little piece of netting and stick it there. And I am almost finished with this one. I've got a nice variety of texture on both sides. I've got the glue all over my fingers. I've got my colors. That is obviously my focal point on this side, and that'll be my focal point on that side. One thing I can see right away is that my colors are not balanced, and the reason they're not balanced on either side is because I don't have 3 or 5 of each color. I've got, on the blue, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could count this edge here as blue also. 5. On the blue on this side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this little card back behind it can be counted as 5. So that's an odd number. So to add the finishing touches to it, I had this little guy that I wanted to add in here, but I don't know any way I could put him in there without covering something up. What do you think about that? Or should I put it over here? It doesn't really add anything to it. At this point, I'm looking at this and I'm going, does any additional elements add to it, make it look better or worse, or does it do anything at all? And if it doesn't, if it makes it worse or it doesn't do anything at all, then I will just leave it off. I think that I will put him there, just for fun. He looks like he's having fun, and this is a little golden book, and we might as well, just because I like it. All right, what do you think? Now, it still doesn't feel quite finished to me. I think it needs a little tidbit of lace and maybe something in a yellow in the center of this flower. And perhaps, oh, I told you that I didn't have the yellow balanced over here. I've got 2 and then 2, so I need a 3rd yellow. And we could put a 3rd yellow right in the middle of that. and that would balance it out. And this isn't really yellow, it's sort of gold. Where is a little tiny yellow? There's a tiny yellow. I think this would look better on this side. Maybe right there. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, like a triangle. 1, 2. 3. I think that adds to it. It doesn't take away, it only adds. All right, gonna use my Fabri-Tac. I'm gonna cut this down just a little bit. And then I'm gonna pull it out to fray the edges so there won't be any hard edges. Okay. This glue is really, to me, it's really expensive. I live on a fixed income. I'm retired, and let's put that up underneath there, and that comes down on top of it. Give it a little glue there and there to make sure it stays down on top of it. All right, now I have, can you see how that changes everything by adding that third piece of yellow? 1, 2, 3 pieces of yellow, and 1, 2, 3 pieces of yellow. It makes it look more balanced to me. Now when you open it up, it'll come open like this. Now what I will do when I put this into my little golden book is what I'm working on. So what I will do is I'll come along the edges and put probably some trim along the edges here and here in probably orange or blue. Probably orange, since orange is really my dominant color. I'll probably put some orange trim here and some orange trim on this side, maybe different texture. And when this book is sewed in, the center is right through here, and I don't really need anything right up next to the center. All this stuff is almost glued down completely and dried. I think it needs a little bit of white lace. I think that is something that would help this to brighten it up a little bit. To give it a little bit of finish. It won't take much, but it'll finish that on that side. Now I could put it facing in, which I kind of like that, or I could do it out, or I could cut off this little thing right there completely. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to cut this baby off right there. So be gone with it. Now I don't have that yellow line to contend with. And I think that I'm going to make it go over the edge just like that. I think that's what it needs there. glue that little bit down. Go down and stay down now. Okay, I think that helped it. And I think it could use another piece of white lace to brighten up this side. And I happen to have this kind of lace, which has a little bitty blue ribbon running through the center. You probably can't see it, but it's just a little tiny bit of blue. And it's very subtle what it's doing here. It's very subtle, but see how that is a sharp corner right there? This takes away that hard edge. It doesn't take much, just something to eliminate that hard edge so it doesn't go straight across this way and straight down that way. Your eye just breaks it up when you look at it. And that way you can't hardly see it, I'm sure, in this video. But it is right through here, and it makes a difference. It makes a very subtle difference, but it adds a texture and a little bit of white. See, I put this white right up here next to the bright yellow. I put this white next to the white that's poking out through that edge there. And this looks complete to me on this side. This side could use one thing, but I don't want to use the same kind of lace. But let's see. I have this piece of an old doily, and I've already got something that's maybe it's too much texture. I don't think it adds anything to it. I think this is just too big. I'm looking for something that's bright and light, and I'm not finding it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this piece of white and blue and stick it right there. I think I like that. Okay, this is going to finish this babe up. Let's see. Fabric tack on that one, and on this tiny little piece of paper I am just going to dot some art glitter glue on it. I was able to tuck it right up underneath that blue flower petal. I could keep doing this all night. I could keep adding stuff and smaller and smaller pieces, maybe some bling, but I'll wait and do that once I've got it inside my journal. Once I've put it in the signature, I'll wait to add anything else if it needs it. Once I get it in there. Hope this has helped you some. I went ahead and went progressively from the largest pieces down to the smallest pieces. I overlapped everything. I inked the edges before I glued it down. Let's see. Your main part of your collage is complete, and I went ahead and went to the tiniest little finishing off elements. The main part of your collage is complete once you've glued down the first 3 elements on either side, and then you're just adding accents to fill it out. I could have filled out this whole entire page, but I kind of like that these two are 2 different separate pages, two different works, and it's like it has a little frame around each side. I kind of like that. I hope this gives you some ideas you can use in your journals. If you want to still stick around, I can show you how I finish out this one. Probably won't do it tonight though, but this is the second one, and I've glued down the 3 elements on this side: the fan, the rose, the bird, and then the 3 elements on this side here. And then what I will do is I will take these little pieces that I have gotten, and I've already pre-inked and everything, and I will move them around until I find something that I like. And then I will start gluing down with the largest pieces to the smallest pieces. I'll make sure I add some texture, and I make sure that my colors are balanced out. And I will post how it looks. Once I finish these three, I'll post the 3 collages that I did on Facebook and Instagram. Here is another one that I chose the main element, and I wanted to show you how I did that. These go in there. I wanted to use this bird there, and I wanted to use this here. And those were my first 2 elements that I chose. I'm juggling everything, I'm dropping it. There we go. Okay, those were the first 2 elements, and I knew I wanted to use these 2. But before I glue anything down, I'm going to decide exactly where I'm going to place everything else. This is the third. This is one of the elements I wanted to use on this side, and this is one of the elements that I wanted to use on that side. And I think I want it like that, just so a little bit of it's peeking out. This is bright. Okay, I really wanted to use this somewhere because it's the same yellow as over there, and I wanted to bring the yellows through. But here's what I can do. I can do it like that. Really, I would have to. It's just not fitting together like I want it to. What am I gonna do? There's the third element for this side. And this is what I'll do. I'll put this up there, and my main focal point will be right there. And then this will be down here, like that. See where I'm going with that? And I'll put this over to one side, and then I'll use something on this side to balance it out. See, it's coming along. Okay, I'll start with these 3 pieces on this side, and then I will do something along this line on this side. And I will add a piece of orange right there, probably going that way, maybe like that. And then I will add some texture, probably right there, and maybe a little texture. How about right there? What do you think? Need some white on this side, so let's give it something there. There you go. Now I'm going to have to bring in a tiny little yellow element over here to be my third yellow. And here I've got kind of a gold, but we can count that as one of my yellows, and I'll need to bring a tiny little yellow something to go right up here to balance this one out. Okay, well, I'm going to get to gluing and glue all this stuff down. I hope you got some good ideas that help you out in collaging in your journals. And come see me, Becky's Junk Journals, on Instagram and YouTube.